Oh.
Let me open the window here. We get a better look at the roses. I'm a little worried about this bush. It's suffering from the powdery mildew.
Is that bad, Bob?
Well, it can be if you don't treat it. I sprayed it down.
You got a green thumb, Bob.
Well, ultimately, I think nature's in charge.
Yeah.
I gotta mow that lawn. It's getting kind of shaggy. Those damn gophers keep chewing up the roots of every crabapple tree I plant.
Well,
I tried drowning them with a hose. That didn't work. Not a good enough shot with a 22. I think I'm going to have to pick up some poison.
I couldn't sleep last night, Bob.
Yeah?
My back was keeping me awake. Oh, God. Oh.
Maybe we'll try a little of that meloxicam.
What is that, Bob?
Anti-inflammatory.
Is it a...
Non-narcotic.
Oh, yeah, good. Oh. It was so damn muggy last night.
I know. I turned up the air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And shut all the windows.
Yeah.
And that was at 3.
Thanks, Bob. Oh, those damn crickets were so loud last night.
Always loud in the summer.
I can't wait till they're quiet.
There's always one left, hiding in the house.
Yes.
Loud and hiding.
It's like they do it on purpose.
What's that?
Aggravate us.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
I got to go out to the herdman's farm this morning.
Oh? Why is that, Bob?
Gerald has been having heart irregularities.
He can't go down to the hospital.
It's easier for me to go out there.
Why?
Well, he lost both his legs to diabetes and he's blind.
Oh, yeah.
And he's almost deaf.
God.
He doesn't like to leave the farm.
I don't suppose he would.
Since his wife died last winter, she fell down the steps and broke her back.
You told me.
Yeah. He's got a little dog, Herman, a little black and white mutt. He limps around because someone shot him years ago.
Oh.
Nobody knows.
How old is he, Bob?
Herman? He's got...
No. Gerald Herdman.
Oh, yeah. He is 100. No, 101.
That makes sense. He wouldn't want to leave.
He doesn't use his wheelchair anymore.
How does he get around that old house, Bob?
He's got a little red wagon and a series of ropes.
Oh? Oh.
He's able to pull himself from the living room to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the den, where he's got a little mattress for him and Herman.
And he pulls himself?
Oh, he's still got big arms, left over from farming. That's about all that's left. He still has an appetite, though. He loves his fried chicken, and he eats a lot of candy.
He needs to go to the retirement home, doesn't he?
He's a stubborn old coot. German. He's lived on that farm for 101 years. He was born out there on the kitchen table. His sister delivered him.
His sister?
She was 12, I believe he told me.
12? Good Lord.
Middle of a blizzard, 30 below, roads all blocked. He said his dad was off in the war.
Oh, you want some more coffee, Bob?
No thanks. He raised hogs, had a few milk cows. He grew corn and soybeans and chickens, baled hay. And this was before the farms got gobbled up by the corporations, when they were small family farms. Did a little auctioneering for a while, too. He was pretty good at that.
Oh, Bob?
Gerald Herdman.
Oh, yeah. I used to see him in church with his wife. God, was she ever fat?
She weighed 500 pounds at one point. I removed her gallbladder. That alone weighed 2 pounds. And she lived to be 89.
How could she live that long carrying all that weight?
She was a farm wife. She just kept moving.
I never did talk to her. In all the years, we never talked. And they have the one son. Never talked to him either. There's 800 people in town. It's hard not to talk to everybody about something, one time or another, for some reason, but I just
There's a lot of people here who don't talk too much.
That's what I mean.
I've been in quite a few houses around town for various medical reasons. No.
The people?
Not much at all.
Oh.
I try not to take it personally.
Well, right, you can't, Bob, can you?
I just try to help them do my job.
Some people talk too much about the wrong things.
Yeah.
Sheila Olson. But she
What's
just
that?
goes on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
She came over last week. Tuesday, right after lunch. You'd just gone back to the office. She was selling rosaries for St. Joseph's. It made me so mad.
Uh-huh.
She knows I don't go to church anymore, and she intentionally comes over here and waves a rosary in my face. Oh, I should have told her. I should have.
Well, you know.
People like her are the reason I don't go to St. Joseph's anymore. I should have told her. I should have.
Rena, you gotta...
She's told everybody in town, the whole town, that I went to a mental hospital. God damn it, I went to see my sister in Wisconsin.
I know that.
I know you do. But people in town believed her. I know they did. That's why I lost my position as the Democratic chairwoman, Bob.
Well, you had it for quite a while.
And I should have kept it. People forget. I was on the governor's Human Rights Commission.
Yes, I know.
So I just stood there like a frightened child while she blabbed and blabbed and blabbed. Oh, you know the church needs money, and we keep losing more and more people every year, and poor Father Kivers doesn't know what we're going to do if we... Poor Father Kivers is a goddamn drunk and a finger-happy fonder. Fuck him.
Do you know that for sure?
I do know, yes. I used to go to AA meetings with him, and he'd always manage to put his hands on me while he was talking, and I'd seen him do it to other people, women and men.
That bastard.
My back hurts, Bob.
It still does?
Yes.
All right, let me see here.
Sheila Olson.
What's that?
Nothing. Thanks, Bob.
You gotta be careful.
I know.
It'll be all right.
Well, it looks like it's gonna rain, Bob.
Yeah, getting some pretty decent clouds out there.
There's a purple finch.
Oh, yeah, pretty.
They're so nice. And the yellow ones are so bright. Sometimes when they flicker past the window, it almost makes me flinch.
Yeah, they're pretty little things. He operated a lot of noisy machinery for a lot of years.
Who, Bob?
Gerald Herdman.
Oh, yeah.
He likes it when I go out to visit him. He brings out his Indian artifact collection. He's quite proud of that.
And what is it, Bob?
It's things he found out in the field, arrowheads, spear tips, little fire starter stones, and a few bones that I actually didn't recognize.
Oh,
Yeah. He even found an old skull.
really?
Yeah. It could be an old Indian skull.
Can you tell?
He'd have to have it analyzed.
You never did.
No. He's got it all shined up and sitting on the kitchen table.
No.
He shaved off the top. He keeps candy in it. Jelly beans and caramels and gum. It's still got all its teeth. You know, it looked like a pretty healthy Indian.
Uh-huh. Where is that son now? Son. Clayton, isn't it?
He's still out there.
Oh. Oh, so he takes care of Gerald.
Gerald takes care of him.
Well, how old is he?
72.
Does he do the farming then?
Oh, they got rid of the land. They just have some hogs and some chickens and the house.
What does he do then, Clayton?
Not much. He feeds the chickens and the hogs.
Oh. I thought he moved away.
He killed his wife.
Oh, that's right. But that was 30 years ago.
32. He went to prison for a while and they let him out after 10 years. Said he had post-traumatic stress syndrome from Vietnam.
So he's out there still.
He lives in an old Greyhound bus in the grove of trees behind the farmhouse, and he collects junk and then piles it in different areas back there. A lot of old rusted stuff. He keeps it in order, though. I saw him walking around back there, but I couldn't get him to wave at me.
Oh, God. Oh,
Is the medicine working?
a little bit, Bob. Not much. I'm sorry, Bob.
What's that?
I get so worked up when I think about Sheila Olson talking about me.
Let people talk.
They don't talk about you, Bob.
Sure they do.
People respect you.
Not everyone.
Oh, Bob, who talks about you?
Well, Merle Kimball used to.
He was a big stupid ass.
Yeah?
A good Catholic and a racist bastard.
Yeah.
The things he said about black people for no reason. He called him the N-word, and he knew he didn't like it. And he knew I had a daughter who married a black guy, so he liked to torment me.
He was a piece of work, all right.
So proud of you, Bob. That time at the American Legion when we were drinking with him and Rosemary.
Oh, yeah?
And he started telling that joke about black people hanging from trees. And he said, what was it he said, Bob, that terrible thing?
He said, when is your daughter's husband going to find the right tree?
Oh, terrible.
And then you said, you know, Merle, you are the only hanging in this room.
I did.
Yeah.
And then he stood up to punch me. And you stood up right in front of him. And, oh, you were so brave, Bob, because he was mean. And he beat poor Rosemary and the kids. And calmly, I'll never forget this. You took off your glasses and you set them on the table. And you said, Merle, if you want to hit somebody, go ahead and hit me.
Right.
What did he say?
He said, well, I can't hit you. You're my doctor.
I was so proud of you, Bob. That big fat bastard.
When he disappeared, the whole town was talking about it.
I know.
The days went by, and the weeks, 2 more months.
Most people were glad he was gone. Even Rosemary. He scared everyone.
I had just taken over the job as county coroner, and I got that call from Sheriff Treblesfold.
I didn't like him either.
It was in March, 50 degrees, first warm day after a long, cold winter.
Yeah.
He was out on patrol driving down Highway 23 south towards Jasper, and he saw the top of the car just under the water down in Bibbers Creek.
I think Merle got what he deserved.
He'd been out drinking and driving like he did. and he went off the road. Very slippery that night, black ice. And then it snowed like hell, 7 inches, covered up any trace of him.
I feel sorry for those kids. 6 of them. None of them turned out well. They're always in trouble.
They figured when the car hit the water, it knocked him out and then he drowned. But he was still sitting upright in the seat, perfectly natural, like preserved by the cold for the most part. The fish had nibbled his ears and nose, and his eyes were gone. And I don't know why, but or how. His pants were down to his knees.
Well, he got what he deserved.
You never know what's going to happen.
You don't.
Yeah?
Oh, never mind.
What is it?
My back hurts, but
Yeah?
it's my mind, Bob.
Yeah?
It's been keeping me awake. I have these ruminations, these thoughts that keep coming back.
Well, maybe we should.
No, like Sheila Olsen, I'll start thinking about her, and I get madder and madder, and I relive it, and it's like it has a mind of its own. It keeps coming back over and over.
Maybe we should try a new antidepressant.
Oh, again, Bob.
There's always new ones.
Sometimes when I'm drinking a glass of water, I can't stop counting when I swallow. Every time I swallow, I count. It just drives me nuts.
We'll try a new antidepressant.
I get so tired of it. It makes me mad. I'm just goddamn tired of it.
It's going to be all right.
Really, Bob?
It doesn't do any good to
what? Bob, what?
We got to keep our hope.
You don't know what it's like.
I know it's hard on you. I get depressed too sometimes.
I can't tell, Bob. I can't tell with you. How do you deal with it?
I just try to keep busy, working.
It's not fair.
No. Life is not a fair thing. One time, when I was a kid, one winter afternoon, real nice January day, 30 degrees, my Aunt Martha took me and my 2 sisters to this house. Never been there before. And these 2 brothers lived there alone. They were about 30. And neither one of them had any arms.
What?
Yeah, nothing from the shoulders down.
So many people in this town missing things.
A lot of farming accidents, but these 2 were twins.
Like that Indian family, Native American, with the 2 boys joined at the hip.
These twins were separate, but like I say, they were both born without any arms. Thalidomide babies, they call them.
They used that drug a lot, didn't they?
As a sedative and for morning sickness till they found out what it was capable of.
I don't know, Bob.
Well, so anyway, we sat there in the living room, me and my 2 sisters, Cheryl and Lynn, and my Aunt Martha, and these 2 brothers, Dick and Don, I think it was, and they were scooting around the carpet, and they were bringing us things with their feet.
Their feet?
Just like they were hands, perfectly nimble feet. like hands, and they pushed around a tray, and they handed Aunt Martha a cup of tea, and they handed me a hot cocoa and a sugar cookie. Same with my sisters, and then they scooted over to these two old wooden chairs and hopped up on them, and one of them pulled out a pack of Pall Malls from his front pocket
with his foot.
just like a hand, and packed it against his other foot, ripped it open, tapped out a cigarette, put it in his mouth.
Did the other brother too?
No, he didn't smoke, but he pulled out a book of matches, tore one out, struck it up
with his foot,
and lit up his brother's cigarette.
That is amazing.
They're real good-natured guys too, and they did all these amazing, excellent bird calls. Like, it sounded like the real thing. Like they did a meadowlark and a robin, a sparrow, chickadee, and a red-breasted nuthatch.
Wow.
And they made this unbelievable, amazing, beautiful, ornate doll furniture, like real little dressers that with the doors that opened, and a little rocking chair, and it all looked completely authentic, except it was very small. And they gave it all to my sisters, who loved it for their dolls. And these furniture pieces were around our house for years and years. Very strong wood, oak, stained beautifully.
That is almost unbelievable.
But absolutely true.
What happened to Dick and Don?
They died in a house fire.
No.
Yeah. You just never know what's going to happen.
We used to have a trash burning barrel down at the end of our yard in Wisconsin when I was a kid. Down behind an old brick wall. And one summer day, it must have been about 90 degrees out. God, it was hot and humid. I was about 5. And we were all in the backyard. I think we were having a picnic with the neighbors, the Knutsons. Their son, Rick, was carrying me around. He was in all white. He must have been home on leave. He was a Navy pilot in Vietnam too. But he was playing with me, and I was laughing and happy with him. And he carried me all around the yard. We picked apples, and he threw me up in the air and caught me, and I was laughing. And then we were down by the trash burning barrel behind the brick wall, alone. And we were right next to that big burning barrel, and it was hot. I looked down into it. It was all red with glowing, burning garbage. And then he held me out over the middle of the barrel and dangled me. I tried to grab him to get away from the fire, and he laughed and lowered me and laughed and lowered me. My legs hurt, and he laughed. I finally screamed, and he pulled me out and threw me on the ground and said, "If you ever tell anyone, I'll burn you up." So I ran into the field behind our house, into the tall grass, and I stayed there until I heard my mother call.
Did you tell her?
I never told anyone. Until right now. She listened.
Look what I found. No powdery mildew. This is strongest little rose from the bush for the strongest little rose at the table.
Thank you, Bob. I feel so bad about so many things.
It's going to be all right. It's going to be better.
Is it?
If I have anything to do with it,
I lost my faith, Bob. I wish I had more faith.
you just gotta believe.
In what?
It's starting to rain.
A nice little light rain.
You want to come with me out to Gerald Herdman's?
Oh, I don't know, Bob.
Maybe we can get his son Clayton to wave at us.
Maybe.
And then maybe we could stop at the Dairy Queen on the way back. I'll buy you a raspberry parfait. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll stop at the library and get you some books.
Yeah. Good. I love you.
Come on. Let's go take a little drive in the country.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys. If I could have everyone back, please, that would be wonderful. That was just beautiful. I guess I need to turn the camera back on. So here we go. Really wonderful. Peter, oh, thank you. We got Peter and.
Great job, guys.
Wonderful job.
Sorry about that line. I don't know what happened.
That was great. It was great. So I'm going to ask the first question, and then anybody else, you just raise your hand, or you could ask it in the Q&A, whatever you want to do, and then I'll repeat it for everybody else. But my first question is actually to the playwright, to Joe Keys. So Joe Keys, I have a question for you. So this is an ongoing story. We have part 1 and part 2. I'm very curious on things that you've discovered that were not really part of the writing process. So when you first sat down to write 1 and write 2, what's been growing?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, so much, but it has to do with this great collaboration that we have here. I mean, with Steve and Lily being so facile and such really, really talented actors, and Peter's insight. And thank you, Todd, for making this possible. A lot has changed. I mean, it's their, it's their interpretation of my little story, and in many cases, it's not what I was necessarily thinking, but I've grown to be on board. It's just so exciting to see things develop and go places that you didn't really think about, Like I didn't think, to be honest, I didn't think this thing was pitched when I wrote it quite as high as from where we start, with her being so distraught. In my mind, it wasn't pitched that high, but I was thinking about that this time, and I went, God, it makes the drama so much more malleable. It makes the drama more alive when it is pitched that high, if that makes any sense. Anyway.
Joe, I'm going to ask you, could you just tilt your computer down a little bit so we could see your face a little bit more? And then I'm going to ask, before I open this up to the house, I'm going to ask pretty much the same question, because we have the same team that's going from 1 to 2 to 3. So I'm going to ask, Peter and Steve and Lily, about the development of the play and about the development of the characters that is sort of growing from what was originally on the page. Anybody who wants to chime in?
Yeah, I'll just touch briefly. Homefires 1, in Homefires 1, Lily, they had 8 children. The last son has left the house, and Rena, the character Rena, is facing an empty nest syndrome and basically what she's going to do with her life. So the children, at that beginning Homefires, the children have been a distraction for her in terms of how she belongs in this place. Bob is a small town in rural Minnesota. Bob is the only doctor in town. He's much more deeply acclimated to the place than she is, but she's had the children. She's had other engagements that are touched on in this piece. And that was Homefires 2. Homefires 1. Homefires 2 has to be pitched higher because it's been a period of time. We discussed exactly how long, maybe 6 months, 8 months, somewhere in there. And now she's in more of an existential crisis because there are no children to relieve her. And she's really, what am I doing here? That's why we chose the painting in the beginning by an artist named Andrea Couch, who is from Michigan, rural Michigan. It's, in the neighborhood. And it deals with a woman of unusual intelligence or sensitivity who is restrained by a small community and has this issue you see here in the piece about not having anyone to talk to and some people talking too much. This is what Joe's writing is unique in that it is deceptively simple on the surface and it's profoundly deep when you get into it, but you really have to reach below the language itself. It is horror, a humorous approach to horror in a way. I mean, it's horror that is a mix of horror and humor that is unique. And I use the word horror simply on a more existential level, that some, our situations can become unsettling, or to use the word dis-ease. And Rena right now is in dis-ease, and Bob is trying to treat her. That's essentially the direction.
Steve and Lily, did you want to comment on that as well, or you didn't have to?
The development, your question.
I'm just talking about the development of your characters. Yeah, I'm just talking about the development of your characters that you've brought to this that wasn't necessarily there on the page. Have you been seeing this? Have you been?
It feels different, from the first one, and I feel like we're kind of knowing more about them as we move from 1 to 2, and I think there's 3 and 4 coming.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Great. That's great.
But
yes.
you get to see more of the character, and so what might have been a little two-dimensional is really filling in now for us, I think. What about you?
Yeah. I don't know what to say. It's really just wonderful stuff to work on.
It's great writing.
We're friends with Joe and Peter, and all these stories are from Joe's real life, which amazes me. And I don't know,
they're unbelievable, but absolutely true. Really,
so Dee asks if there will be an encore performance, and the answer to that is yes, next Friday. So we're going to do another performance next Friday. So come back again next Friday, or tell your friends if they weren't able to make tonight. So
let me just say on that, in the process we're in now, the piece itself has a kind of a freedom to it. I mean, we haven't locked it down. There's a discovery process that's ongoing, and the performances vary from the quality doesn't vary, but the nuances, the coloration, the tempos, the quality or the shape of the exchange of someone are still in development. It's not until really, because we're on Zoom, it's not until you're really in front of an audience and you begin to hear the audience's reaction to the piece, where it's funny, where it's not, and things like that, that you really start to control the tonalities of it. And right now it's just has a kind of oceanic quality, which is kind of wonderful. So it's always a little bit different. Next Friday, I'm sure it will be.
Great,
Yeah.
great. So yes, and so next Friday, and then Lisa Robbins, you're on. Go for it.
Right, Peter, it's got that quality because you give your actors freedom to really live. And that's what I saw today, this absolutely beautiful love story. And I'm not going to remember everything you guys said, but the humor, I mean, the delicate balance of heart-wrenching reality and humor. I mean, I was laughing out loud way more than most comedies, quote comedies, because you guys were playing it totally real and simple. And I would venture to guess, Joe, that you've got to have some mental illness in your family. Not sure that that's true, but the delicacy to which you presented the nuances of what it's like to live with somebody suffering from depression or possibly deeper issues were presented in a most realistic, beautiful fashion. My heart just ached for her and for him, and then the details of like the guy that went off the road, slid off the road into the lake. I mean, you must have done research on what happens to a body. That was friggin' hilarious. And the two brothers with no arms. I mean, you just can't make that shit up, Did you make that up, or do you know those guys?
No, I remember we went to that house that Sunday. I remember that. That really happened. The guy that went off into the creek. That was a story that was told to me as a child about two farmers going back home after drinking in the winter and disappearing and not being discovered till the spring. But I just attached it to Merle.
Right. Well done. The acting was just beautiful. And I know, Peter, that you guys are so talented. And Peter, you give them the space to actually really breathe and really live. And it worked. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's, as a director, it's easy to give space to actors like Lily and Steve. It's a joy, actually. It relieves you as a director from having to micromanage things, which is never fun.
Yeah.
Frank Henke.
Well, this is actually me and Margot. We're here.
Yeah,
Hey, Frank and Margot.
Hi, you guys. Oh my God. So we saw the first part, and I just wanted, oh my God. So Peter, I think your pitch was excellent. And I thought the actors, oh my God, Steve and Lily, every moment I was just waiting for the next great thing. But I felt like you were in touch with Joe, the playwright. Joe, the details, as someone said before, significant to the humor. And I wanted you to know that time and again, I'd get it. Keep junk in order. So many people in this town missing things. At the end, wish I had more faith. Believe in what? We all can. Look, you know what, Joe? I'm from Maine. So I actually know some of those guys in that rural area. And there's so much humanity in it. And even Dick and Don, who they're offering things with their feet. The details, as someone else had said, resonate with all of us. And I really appreciated that. And I don't want to go on and on, but I want to see more. Okay.
I think what was good about the pitch, what you were
Hey,
talking
Frank.
about, that it started off and you don't know quite what it is, but you think there's something that Lily's character is going through that's more than is being said just yet.
Yeah.
And it kind of, you want to see where that develops to. And then the other thing that I think is really delightful about it is, here are these people that they've been living together, they've been married for God knows how many years. And he's still got stories that she hadn't heard, and great ones, you know. I mean, maybe they just haven't spent enough time together without other things on their plate to for to hear all the stories. But I think it's great too that sometimes he'll tell them, and he actually makes her feel better for a little while.
Right.
It's so lovely. Yeah,
Right.
God knows the rose at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Right. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks.
Our
Thank
friend
you.
Elisa Callow is saying that she thinks the town. Hey, Elisa, thank you for watching. She's saying the town is a third character, and I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, Stu Berg.
Well, first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And one of the things, a lot of the things that I was thinking of saying have been said, and I'll try to be brief. Number one is what came through to me was how really caring you were with each other. The sincerity of the relationship really came through to me. It came through beautifully. And the stories were absolutely terrific. All I could think was, boy, I'm glad I wasn't raised in that town. But I was born bald, and I still am. So maybe it's not quite the same as having no arms. But I sincerely enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one. And Peter, your work is, I always think of your work as really being terrific, and at a lot of levels. And it was just a very, very enjoyable time. So
Thank you.
Once again, thanks, guys, and keep it up.
Thank
Joe,
I
not
will
bad
just
work.
say briefly that I think it's Joe's intention to keep as many people out of Minnesota as possible.
What? That could hurt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stu. I accidentally, sorry, I cut you off. I thought you were done. So my apologies. All right, Gina Acosta.
Hey, you guys, can you hear me?
Hi,
Hi, Gina.
Hey, you guys. Oh my gosh, what a fearsome foursome. Holy cow. Fearsome fivesome. It's just so wonderful. And again, what everyone has echoed about the care and this quiet beauty and pain and the sensitivity, and these two people who are just moment to moment inching through this this little place that you're gently easing us into, Joe. It's just gosh, it was just so beautiful. And like what Lisa Robbins said, laughing out loud, much bigger than in so many quote unquote comedies, with just the simple telling of these wonderful people in this town that are so vivid and so alive. And the idea that I feel so blessed to have gotten to know Steve a little bit, because he's going to be part of my small town project soon, and Todd being a producer and Peter being a director. So the idea of just capturing this little snow globe of these people, and it was so beautiful, Joe. It was so beautiful. And Steve, I'm tossing this out there. I pray I'm not going to offend you, but I have to say, after the two of you were speaking about so many people are missing things in this town, and you lifted your left hand, and the fact that you are bereft of that finger was the best. That was just killer.
Oh, funny.
That was just, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best. And he's part of that. He's part of that in a sense. So that was just, I can't thank the five of you enough for what a beautiful, beautiful presentation. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks so much, Gina. Thank you.
So there's a lot of love in the all right, do we have Claudia? So there's a lot of love in the chats and in the Q&A, but we have Claudia. So let me hit Claudia really quickly.
Hi.
Do you notice it?
I wanted to say it was just a stunning, stunning evening. The writing was just marvelous, Joe. It just so moving. And the direction Peter was I just sensed that you were very hands off, and that the actors, being the artists that they are, were able to just keep going and living together. And my goodness, it was as if this husband is giving her an anchor constantly to save her or hold on to. It was just absolutely beautiful. I think it was one of the most beautiful pieces I've seen, whether I've seen it on the stage, film, TV, anywhere. This is a stunning work of art evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. And
I just want to say, Claudia, thank you so much, but I can't pretend to be hands off. I think Steve and Lily will fill you in privately in the message board. They could give you all the information you need to know.
We're in love with Peter. We're all in love with Peter.
that's wonderful. All right, Michael Cavanaugh, if you just unmute yourself, you are up.
Back to studio, bro.
Michael.
It's as an actor, it's always thrilling to come upon a script that lights you up. And I can see that script lit everybody up. Joe, I don't know you. In fact, I don't know anybody except you, Peter and Todd, but it was a stunning evening. And I kept sitting here, I made a couple of notes about things that just, the twins with their bird calls. Those little things are so magnificent in creating the images that you did, Joe, and the way the two of you brought them out, and Peter, how you helped draw it out. It's just thrilling for me to be able to listen to a beautiful script, beautifully rendered. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. If anybody has any more comments or questions, please, now is the time. In the meantime, I do want to remind everybody that we are going to do an encore performance next Friday. So again, please come back or tell your friends or both. And to everybody on screen, I'm going to send you guys another link. I think you remember this. Send you another link. So we'll do a quick wrap up afterwards. So check your emails. And we have D. So DW, DEE, and then W. So D, you're on. Just unmute yourself. Hello, D. You just have to unmute yourself and then you are going. So while you get to that unmute button, I'm just going to fill in the blanks while you get to that unmute button, and just interrupt me when you figure it out. So that's what's happening next week. Again, remember to check your calendars. Also, there's something on the website, everybody, where if you want updates, just remember, we don't spam anybody. So on the bottom, just fill in your emails and let me know. And that way we can keep in touch with you and let you know when, what we've got going on. And that way we can stay in touch. And then Bruce Robinson says, Don and I love this play and production. Steve and Lily were brilliant. Peter, well done. Curious to see where it goes next. We love seeing, wait a minute, we love seeing what seems like ordinary salt of the earth people, and then we're surprised and delighted and even appalled by their actions. And Joe, you're brilliant. Thank you. Now I'm green with envy. So D, I have done everything I can possibly do on this end. You just have to unmute yourself. I'm going to give you another 10 or 20 seconds, and then we're just going to say goodbye. Hopefully you could figure it out. If not, all right. So unfortunately, D, we're just going to say goodbye to everybody else. Does anybody have anything to say apart cast? Peter, Joe, any final
Thank
parting
you.
comments?
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
thank you,
thanks
Todd.
everybody.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Todd, for the support, the amount of hours you put into making all this possible. Not just the Smart Film in general, but particularly Homefires 2 and the rehearsal process, everything. So I
Yes.
really appreciate your
Hey,
presence.
Todd,
Yes.
for anybody who wants to go back and watch Homefires 1,
I see that. Yes.
it's
thank
on,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Lily. So if you go to smartphonetheater.com, and there's a tab that says episodes, and we now have season 1 and season 2. So if you go to the episodes tab and go to season 1, you will find Homefires 1. So So that is it, as well as, 40 other productions that we've done, presentations that we've done over the past year since March 27th. All right. And great. Dee, I'm sorry we didn't get to talk, but you're still muted. So hopefully we can figure that out by next week. Everybody else, I'm going to send you another link to our audience. Thank you again for joining us this week, and we hope to see you next week. And we'll see you soon. Okay. All right.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank you.